In Moscow, Sedova Street, in the Gymnasium Sviblova, there is a school museum dedicated to a famous poet. The museum is located in a small multi-purpose room. It's an exhibit and a storage place, and also a room where children can have a rest and do certain museum activities. You can find memorial items from the writer's apartment, where he lived the last years of his life. This is a desk with a typewriter and a manuscript of a poem. On the table there is a bust of Vladimir Vysotsky, whose work he studied, the portrait of his wife, the storyteller and artist Tatyana Alexandrova. The tale Kuzka by Tatyana Alexandrova impressed the Japanese so much that it was translated into Japanese. Original illustrations were produced especially for that publication. For many years, he was a promoter of his wife's creative work. He collected her drawings and published them with his poems. This edition was given a literary award. Berestov's relatives handed his Pushkin literary fund over to the museum. In these books you can find notes made by the researcher's hand, and here are the results of his discoveries. An article about Alexander Pushkin's childhood, Pushkin's early love. The article was published in the collection of the State Pushkin Museum. According to the writer's widow's memoirs, they specifically chose this furniture. This stand has a special segment for storing records. The poet had a large audio library. Only 17 of them were handed over to our museum, but all of them have the autographs of famous people, poets Novella Matveyeva, Naum Kodjavin and bards Andrew Anpilov, and others are among them. So you are in the museum of Berestov and his surroundings. Valentin Berestov was a writer, a poet, an archaeologist and a historian, a literary critic, a Pushkinist. Berestov gained his popularity for his poems for the youngest readers. He wrote his very first poem about the car to his daughter Marina. Then there were other poems: Beer the Coach Potato, Har the Drama, Cheerful Summer, Dragon, Cat's Puppy, Christmas Ball. These books were published in millions of copies, and the most famous was the poem Chitalochka. At first it was placed in the primer Sputnik and then was included in the ABCs. Soon they began to be translated into foreign languages. Valentin Berestov traveled around the world with lectures, performances, and attended numerous international book fairs. One trip was very unusual. He traveled to Italy to Arpina, Caesar's homeland, invited by the famous writer Giuseppe Bonaveri, participate in the stone book Urban Architectural Design Project. When he came to the city, it struck him, and Berestov wrote a poem called Bird's Eye, specifically for this book. Berestov's creativity was marked by high awards, both in Russia and abroad. In 1990, Berestov was awarded the State Award for the book Smile. In 1988, Berestov was included in the list of winners of ABBY, as well as his friend, illustrator Leo Tokmakov. This diploma is kept in the museum. The museum library contains a lot of Berestov's books, with illustrations by Tokmakov. But the most unusual exhibit was the manuscript of the poem On the Way to Venice, which he wrote together. Surprisingly, Tokmakov also wrote poetry. The preface to the first edition was written by Berestov. In 2020, Russia will hold the International Congress on Books for Young People for the first time. Writers, artists, librarians, critics, researchers from all around the world will gather to discuss what literature and books for children and young people should be like in the future.